So many of us know Freya as the goddess of love and fertility, and in fact, it is her brother, Frey, who is actually the embodiment of these qualities. But of course, when we see these dual pairs in our mythology, it shows us a wholeness. And so inevitably, these are also qualities of her. But it is important to also know Freya deeper than a goddess of love and sexuality. Her powers in the mythology is mirroring to us aspects of our consciousness that is deeply rooted in the clear seeing and a willingness to travel also down into the dark, to undergo these initiation journeys that we see again and again in the goddess mythology. In one myth, Freya, she is traveling down to the underworld, meeting a wolf, a goddess. And in the myth, we see them as mirrors of each other, where, just as many of us know from the Inanna myth, where the kind of the goddess of the heavens and the bright surface of things travels down to meet her sister in the dark. And through this meeting, we see an integration of being and a retrieving of power and wisdom that, when she arises up again, is then integrated within her and how she moves through life. And for those of us who have been through challenges and crises in our lives, many of us have had this experience of meeting that which we fear the most, when things fall apart, when identities are unraveling, something that can feel so frightening and disorienting. But through these processes, we are contrary to what we would believe and choose, we are initiated into a more whole and integrated beingness. Many of us have been through crisis and come out on the other side, not with a lot of ahas and, oh, that was the meaning, or that was the gift. But we come out different. We come out having grown in through dismantling and unraveling. We have fallen into a fertile soil where we then grow out of more rooted and more relaxed in one way, because now our lives are no longer about clinging to certain identities, because we have known ourselves now deeper than the identities that have guided our lives up till these initiations. Freya, she has a certain kind of exuberance and a confidence and also a joy. And it is a joy, if you can imagine this woman walking through the woods, and you see her from behind, and you see her walking on the path towards the opening in the forest, and you see her stepping into the courage of her own path and the leadership of her own path, of her own life. She's the one who has taken the difficult decisions, set the necessary boundaries, released herself from the shoulds and all the ideas that other people put upon her of what she should be. And in that, her bare feet are in a love affair with earth, and the earth is speaking through her. The original instructions are awakening within her. So there's a confidence and a trust in who she is and what she is part of that no one can take away from her, and nobody can give it to her. It is a remembering and a actualization of herself as an embodiment of source. And Freya is a goddess that desire that you and I undergo the same initiations, and that we remember who we are and what we are made of, so that we can release all the expectations and projections on what others are supposed to be or do. We can release the shoulds and ideas of what we think we should be. And we fall into an intimacy and a certain kind of nakedness, in one way, a vulnerability of just being who being who we are, the simplicity of just being who we are. And in that, we become an embodiment of a wisdom that nobody can shake, nobody can take away from us. We shift our loyalty to all of the different structures and ideas that defines what a woman is, what a valuable human is, and we fall into an inner authority. And we see Freya with cats and boars. We see her with a falcon, and it shows us that she acts as this kind of authority through a certain kind of softness and a playfulness. And the falcon has this very piercing eyes and view and way of seeing things that can soar high above the drama, and at specific points dive into the drama, but with a precision and an intention and a swiftness that does not encapture it in the drama. So it shows us a certain aspect of our consciousness that is able to engage with the power and grace and kind of a discernment, a very crystal clear perspective and way of engaging. And her cat gives us that sensual, fluid, soft way of moving in and moving with our desire. And it's an innocence and a kind of resting in a confidence of deserving pleasure, deserving beauty, which by so many structures and patterns in our modern life, many of us have forgotten that it is our birthright. It's been labeled as kind of frivolous or soft or not as important as all the things that we are told to value. And in practice with Freya and in the mirror with Freya, we are asked to retrieve this kind of consciousness and to guard it and to value it, even if nobody else do. There are so many mystical keys and portals in Freya's gestalt and her path. She is the queen of the Valkyrias, the great guardian goddesses. And she is also the teacher of the gods. So she teaches the gods the mystical arts of the runes, the sacred symbols, and the sacred practices that allows us to remove the veil from our eyes that makes us think that diversity means separation, that allows us to see with the falcon eyes through the seemingly solid appearance of things into the underlying web, the energetic vird, the web of life that is permeating all things. And we begin to see it not only as patterns outside ourselves, but the more we open to her wisdom, the more we find ourselves in the very in our center. Yeah, think about the web, that the web have threads that meet, and each meeting point is a center. And we remember and recognize that each one of us have a center. Not only humans, all beings, all life has a center, our own very own center in this web. And she urges us and invites us into an intimacy with that center, where we place that in the center of our lives and our actions and our desires. And that our incarnation and our embodiment becomes an expression, not only of this one individual thread, but the web that it is a part of. So in that, we are initiated back into the wholeness, which is the very body of the God. So Freya is a goddess that invites us home to ourselves, home to our own leadership, home to the river of ease that is available to us in the way we embodied this kind of leadership. I warmly invite you to come with me on this journey. I have, as many of you know, been studying in India for decades. That's where I had my spiritual upbringing. And I've been waiting now for many years to finally feel ready to teach and practice with you, with Freya, great goddess of the north, which is also a retrieving of my own cultural roots, as I am from Norway myself. She is magnificent, and so are you. And in the practice with Freya, she becomes like a mirror, where when we no longer can deny the beauty that we are, what we are made of, and with the support of the different keys that we find in the myth, we also retrieve maps and practices of how we can embody this wisdom that she holds. Welcome, warmly welcome.